My name is Andy Miller, and I'm the evangelist for the Starkville Church of Christ. I grew up in a home where my dad was an atheist. My mom had some Methodist background, but no connection with any kind of local church, religion, or background. In fact, if anything, growing up, mostly Christianity was kind of scoffed at, and even growing up through my high school years, I had friends that claimed to be Christians, but they would do the same things that those of us in the world did. But I said, there's two things I'll never do in life. One, I'll never have anything to do with religion, and two, I'll never speak in front of people. The changing point for me really came about when I was a student at Troy State University in Alabama. Came to have some friends on campus that were, all I knew is they were a member of this Church of Christ, which I'd never heard of. But they were different. My roommate, who was an atheist, and I asked him, "Have you ever heard of this Church of Christ people?" And he just said, "Well, yeah, I think they don't drink and they don't dance." And I was thinking, well, what do they do? Bowl or something? I didn't know what they did. Looking back on it, I can see what was going on there was that I was in darkness, and for the first time, I was really seeing those that were in the light. And if God is supposed to reveal himself in this thing called the Bible, well, what does it say? And I think we as Christians need to realize that there are those in the world, in our culture today, we may assume they know something about the Bible or they know this. I mean, I never even heard of the New Testament. I want to know what was wrong with the old one if we needed a new one. And this is what we need to understand as Christians. If we get people to God's Word is the Word that's sharper than any two-edged sword. In 1 Peter 2:9, Peter says the whole reason why God says that we're a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people of his own possession is for really one thing, so that we can declare the excellencies of him who has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. And for me, that's the purpose of the body. Jesus says in Matthew 5:16, he says, "Let your light shine in such a way that the world may see your good deeds, and because of them glorify your Father who is in heaven." We try to be good people in a bad world, when what we really need to be is Christ-centered people in a lost world. And how can I know Christ and know the gospel and know the truth, but then not in turn share that with those still in darkness? Because if we don't do that, we're not loving our neighbor as ourselves. And if we're not doing that, we're not keeping the greatest commandment, which is really loving God with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul, and all our strength. I mean, it'd be the oddest thing in the world if you believed that there was an all-powerful being of the universe who loved you, and yet you weren't willing to share him. We're just simply instruments, and we just need to open the Word and show people what God's Word said. And as we do that, we'll see individuals brought to Christ. I think we don't realize the lost situation in the world. Recently it was found that in the United States that 1 out of 5 Americans do not know one single Christian. And in my estimation, that's not their fault. That's our fault as Christians, because we're not interacting with the world around us as we ought to be. And there is no one, doesn't matter if we're a student or in high school or a college student or we're in the workplace, everybody ought to know about our conviction, our commitment, and our love for Christ, but they don't. So we're without excuse, because God's the one that is over all that. He's the one that opens hearts. He's the one that brings opportunities. We just need to say, "Here I am, Lord, please use me." My name is Andy Miller, and I am the church.